Hello and welcome to Let's Conversate. I'm your host, Dean Misdale, although some of you probably know me as that god-awful drag queen, Feminem. No, just joking. She's a real sweetheart. Wink, wink. Now, I know some of you are probably asking, what the hell is Let's Conversate? If you're new here, Let's Conversate is my brand new podcast where each episode I will have a different special guest sit down with me and you guessed it, we're going to conversate. They might be someone I know from the industry, someone I have worked with, someone I've known for a long time, or someone I just find really damn interesting. And here we are, episode 3, guest number 3. We have, all the way from Melbourne, the one and only Michael Dalton.
Oh, hello. I want to know which one I am on that list.
Oh.
Am I someone you know in a while, someone you find interesting?
So, definitely someone I've worked with.
Yes.
Yes, definitely interesting.
Great.
And I've known you for a little while. So you kind of tick 3 out of 4, I guess.
I'm right in your box.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Damn. So, Michael is the man behind Dolly Diamond. So, give us a little 30-second spiel about who you are and what you do and tell the world.
Don't we always love those sort of questions? Well, I'm English born, but I've been in Australia nearly 12 years.
Wow.
And but I did live in Melbourne when I was younger as well. Anyway, and I cabaret and comedy and as a performer, any job really.
This is what drag performers do. They're jack of all trades, really.
Well, exactly. And I think I'd dress as a potato if it were, if it were
Mr.
popular.
or Mrs. Potato.
I wouldn't mind. And I love performing. I love,
gorgeous.
It's a job where you get laughter and applause. And you can often drink while you work. It's a win-win.
Yeah, well, I can't drink at the moment because of my weight loss surgery, which we are going to talk about. You asked me about.
Gosh, you brought it in already.
Yes, I know. On the way here.
Wait.
No, on the way, I picked Michael up. He's visiting Perth for Fringe, and on the way here, he's like, "Have you spoken about your weight loss on the podcast yet?" And I said, "No, I
don't remember
haven't."
Being that excited, but yes,
Jesus.
You've got the voice. Radio, haven't you? You are animated,
well,
which is great.
Yeah. So, normally the first question I
asked over that, glossed right on. Carry on.
Yes, we've got we try to keep it under an hour, and every week Lee's clicking his fingers at me, going time. So we've got to move fast.
Yes.
And normally the first question I ask my guests is, "How do we meet?" Do you remember?
Right. Yeah, I don't. Because I'm really bad with that.
Well, we were just talking in the foyer about drag queens that are guesting in your show, and you couldn't even remember their names. So
no, because don't be like that. That's not right. One of them bowed out, and the new one was sought.
They're so disposable. They're interchangeable.
Aren't we?
Depends who you ask.
Now
absolutely.
You remind me then.
So we knew each other through Facebook.
Yes.
And then the first time we ever met was on that god-awful show, All Together Now. Where
we not even met before.
No, you were up in the judging panel and I was on the stage.
That. I thought it must have been
No, that was the first time we'd met. Then the first time we actually met was at Fringe last year when I came to do your show.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we hadn't actually, apart from Facebook, we were...
That's why then. That's why
you don't remember, because it wasn't that important.
Oh, I thought we'd gone for dinner or...
Oh, okay. A romantical...
Yes, I knew that. Unforgettable. No, I was a judge.
Yes.
And you were a contestant, and it only had one season, and I don't know whether to blame you or me. But we
probably a little bit of both, to be honest.
We all did that, not knowing whether they would do another season.
Yeah, of course.
Rhonda Birchmore, Sylvie. I mean, there was lots of
Aussie well-known.
Yeah, and a lot of unknowns, a lot of randoms.
Well, as a contestant, they sent us through a list of the 100 before we performed, and they asked us.
Russell Crowe, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, and I got the list, and I was like, I know about 20 of these people.
Yes.
And, they're like, that's okay, as long as you're not working with them every week.
Yes.
If they're just people that's okay.
And, what would have been good is if, you could have been a judge on that as much as somebody else.
Well, if we want to go there, I saw...
I knew you would.
Yes, I know. No, I saw the notice for them searching for judges before they were searching for contestants.
Right.
So I could have very well applied to be one of the 100.
What I would have liked is that they went into a bit more about that, you've done a million gigs, you've done this, that and the other, and...
You didn't get any of that. I just walked out and sung.
Well, the audience should have got that.
Yes.
Because, it's they're going, who is that?
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily that you're the most recognisable judge in Australia.
Yeah.
Rhonda, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's about what work you've done.
Yeah.
And that you
why are you
deserve
up
to
there
be
judging?
There.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there definitely was not
I
enough
reckon
of
that's
that.
why it didn't work. No,
Well,
it did work. They got good ratings.
Yeah,
but they wanted amazing ratings.
Oh, well, we're living in a world of Netflix and YouTube.
And maths.
So, yeah.
Which is just trash.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I try and steer clear of the.
Well, we've all got our trash that we like.
Oh, my trash is, I love the Real Housewives of Anywhere.
Right. I think that I just watched one of his Real Housewives of Johannesburg.
Oh, God.
That was awful.
Yeah. My favourite is, I love the Atlanta Housewives.
Yeah, that's good.
New Jersey, they are just... I loved the Melbourne and Sydney ones as well. I love the Australian ones.
The Sydney one wasn't good, was it?
Oh, I didn't care, though. I don't care if it's good or bad.
Because you're a little bit like that.
Well, I'm from Sydney originally, so,
that is so
see myself
obvious.
in them.
Yeah. That nasty streak.
Yes, that's exactly where it comes from. Perth is slowly wearing it down. But so how long have you been performing for? Pre-Dolly, with Dolly? Where did it all begin?
In London, I auditioned for Oliver in the West End.
Oh, my God. Who did you play?
I was Oliver.
Oh, as a wee little kid.
Yeah, well, it would have been stupid as an adult. And
she's just going to read me the whole time, folks, just so you're aware.
I was 10. And in the West End.
In the West End, that's incredible. So you started your career in the West End.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And look at me now.
Look at you now in dive bars in Perth.
No, and then we moved to Melbourne when I was 12, and then I went to a really good school in Melbourne, which is out in the burbs. But luckily, they had a really good musical theatre program, and the woman that was there began the Australian Girls Choir and that sort of stuff.
Just name dropping,
Well, she did.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
So it's more of a fact.
So, do you classify yourself as an Aussie or a Brit then? Because
I'm British.
You're Brit for sure.
Yeah, and only because I think you can do it mentally, aren't you? Where I belong in Melbourne.
Yeah, you love it there.
And I love Australia, and I'm a citizen, and I will stand up for the rights of, when marriage equality was, I was definitely up there.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to be somewhere and you've got to believe in where you are, ideally,
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm English.
Yeah.
That's because that's where I was born.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I go back there every year. But at the moment, I'm not loving what's going on in England. That's a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
And a bit racist.
Yeah, it seems that we've, these political things that are happening at the moment, it's like we're almost walking backwards in many, many ways.
100%.
The things are becoming more closed off and more.
Well, we didn't. We believed it was going our way.
Yeah, it was for a long time.
Well, and we still had our work to do. Not everybody accept us, but we're nearly there.
Yeah,
and we weren't. I don't reckon. What they were doing is biding their time and waiting to uprise. Or rise up. One or the other. Yeah,
conservative was the word I was looking for. Sorry. Yeah,
well,
it's
an ugly word.
We're stepping backwards into this conservative. Oh, everything has to be so PC and everything is.
The reason it's got to be a bit more like that is because there are idiots out there that don't know where the line is.
Yeah.
And that think it's all right to
do it all the time.
Yeah. And yes, sometimes it does go a bit far, but if we don't have a line, then nobody knows what's acceptable.
Yeah. So you started performing very, very young.
Yes.
And then how long until drag and the creation of Dolly came into your...
living in London and doing gigs on the cabaret circuit, which over there is...
So you moved back to London after you lived in Melbourne as a kid?
Yes, when I was 21. Right. I met Julian Clary in Melbourne and worked with him over here in Melbourne. And... he said, "Why don't you? If you're moving back, why don't you come move back and we'll do the tour together?" And
fabulous!
It was great, yeah. And then I auditioned for stuff, and you get stuff, you don't get stuff,
of course.
And it was more don't. And so I was doing cabaret gigs, which involves you getting up at 11 o'clock and doing a 45-minute spot, singing at this relatively drunk audience, some of which want you to be there, and some don't.
Yeah,
and And that was as a male vocalist in little leather shorts. You didn't have to wear that. I just chose.
You just chose.
I had them. And
just lying around in the wardrobe.
Exactly. I've still got them. But
Do they still fit?
Fuck. I mean, absolutely not. They look like they'd go on a doll or something. No. I thought I'm not going to get rid of them.
No, they're sentimental.
One day there'll be a museum. One day I'll have an exhibition.
So you're doing the cabaret stuff?
Yes, and then everyone kept banging on about you should do drag, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it because I want to audition for musicals, and then if you're just, you get pigeonholed.
Of course.
That you're a drag act. Or you're a cabaret act, you're a cruise ship, all of that, labels, which is just annoying, isn't it?
Oh, I experience it every day of the week, being that I do a lot of music theatre as well. And there's a lot of that, oh, well, he's the drag queen or he does drag. Yeah. I mean, it comes in handy for the right show.
Well, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's
right
a skill.
One.
Yeah,
I'd like to be considered to be versatile. In the old money.
Hang on, I haven't seen you on Grindr this week, so I can't confirm or deny that.
I don't even bother with all that. Every now and again, I just look, and sometimes that's enough.
Yeah,
I think, all right, I'm done now. Just knocking one out to the pictures is fine.
I'm the same. I kind of log on, look at it, log off. It's So you eventually did start doing drag
I
in
did.
the cabaret
in Wales. I did my first one. I went down to the local shops and bought myself a pair of shoes, which were at least an inch off the ground.
A kitten heel.
Yeah, even though I'd been wearing shoes for
much higher.
Ever. Yeah, but you just thought. You've got to be able to walk before you can run, and trying to put on eyelashes, which I still have trouble with.
Yeah,
Makeup is not my area.
I've been doing drag for close to 15 years now, and still good days and bad days with makeup.
Yeah, she says that, but she does those makeup tutorials.
No, do you know why?
Right, everybody, I'm doing my makeup. I've got to get tired.
She's giving me the shits because I won't do makeup for her or won't sit with her and do makeup. No, I always live stream when I'm doing my makeup because I'm standing there by myself for an hour doing the same thing night after night. It's like, at least
we're aware. You know what it is? I don't.
At least I can talk to someone.
I don't drive, and
right?
So I always.
Oh, you're watching it when you're in an Uber.
No. I always need to live somewhere, and I don't like doing my own makeup. And so if I could get someone to do both of those, I just need a driver that does good makeup. You need a driver that works for Mac is my ideal. And occasionally, helps.
So
me out.
How old were you when you started doing the drag?
58. No, I was 30, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just
and it's always been
that.
Cabaret style of drag?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's typically what it is in the UK.
Yes.
Traditionally, yes.
And look, 90% of us are live vocals.
Yeah.
And you get, the odd mime, which I love mime. I love any sort of entertainment if it's done well.
Oh, that's it. I could watch drag every day of the week.
Well, we do.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, any type of drag. Like I love good drag, bad drag, club kid drag, cabaret drag. Like,
well, the amazing
I love it all.
Mitzi McIntosh moved over and
because she's a lip sync artist.
Yeah, and they didn't know what to make it. I mean, but flawless.
Oh, she's incredible.
Incredible outfits, the face, the mouth.
Her sewing, the stuff she creates. Oh my God.
I know. And there's another one. I don't obviously make my own costume.
No,
I'm perfect for RuPaul's Drag Race.
The perfect one to go home first.
I can't do makeup. Wow, I don't think I've ever heard you be funny. I like it. The new you.
Well, there is a new me. We'll get to that in a second.
Well, there is. Well, we might as well get there now.
Oh, sure, okay.
Yes.
So you created, you started doing drag, back in London. You're doing cabaret drag, and all of a sudden I'm skinny.
Yes. Well, I mentioned as we were arriving, we talked about Adele, and Adele now looks.
I'm chasing her to keep up. I've got to keep up now. That's the running joke.
Yeah.
But no, for those of you listening, I had gastric sleeve surgery just over 8 weeks ago.
Is that like a wizard's sleeve?
No.
Okay.
They remove it.
Ah. And does that mean you still eat, but you eat less?
I can eat maybe. So today I bought a quarter of barbecue chicken from Coles.
Do you eat it or do you just lick it?
No, I ate it, but I didn't even eat the entire quarter piece. Wow. It was, a nibble.
And look,
That'll improve over time,
Will
but
it?
because the surgery is still so recent, you've got to be really, really careful.
Okay, and yes, you would want to be, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So
was it an ordeal? Was it an awful
No,
ordeal?
the surgery I was
it would be
under.
good for radio. If it
Yeah,
was.
no, of course.
Could we just? Are you all right?
No, I'm fine. I had a
you gonna
dream recovery.
cry?
I was under. I was only under anaesthetic for 45 minutes. It's keyhole surgery. I was in hospital for 2 days and then back home. And yeah, the worst thing was because it's keyhole surgery, they fill you up with gas and you get really bad gas.
Got enough of me own.
Yes, exactly. And you get really bad gut aches for about maybe 5 days. Once that passed, it felt like I hadn't even had surgery. Like
Wow.
no pain, no nothing. So I'd lost close to 15 kilos pre-surgery doing Weight Watchers, and then they make you do a really strict pre-surgery diet for 2 weeks. And then I've lost somewhere about 16 or 17 kilos in 8 weeks since the surgery.
Wow. I mean, you look great.
Thank you.
But without a doubt, the most important bit of it is as long as you're happy with your life.
And that's the thing. The surgery for me...
Big or small, and I know that sounds like just bullshit.
No. Absolutely.
I really believe that.
Absolutely. And the surgery for me was never a vanity thing, because if it was, I would have done it years ago.
Right.
For me, it was I wanted to make sure I could have longevity in my career, and at the size I was...
You mean your life?
Yeah, and my life in general.
yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, the size I was, my career was going to start to struggle very soon.
Right.
Just because I am on stage 5 nights a week, go, and I'd injured my ankle. My hips were always out of alignment from wearing high heels. Drag, for those of you who don't do drag, it takes a toll on your body.
It does.
It really, really does. So there was a lot of different factors that played into it for me. And yeah, absolutely no regrets. Could not be happier with it so far.
Great.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had it done and died from it.
Wow.
Yeah, because when they had it done, they left the hospital and got hit by a bus.
You asshole. Lee, our producer over here, is covering his face laughing. We just stopped into a dress shop.
Yes.
And you automatically said to this, where are the larger sizes?
Yeah, well, I'm broad. I'm a broad.
You do. You have big
know.
shoulders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you find...
but then I was Rocky and Rocky Horror years ago.
So you had the perfect broadness for it.
I had 29-inch waist.
Oh, I need to see some photos of this, please.
I've got one.
Yes, please.
And even then, I was breathing in. I've been doing that all my life, breathing in, just because you just don't want to look fat. And so I've had those issues all my life.
Yeah.
And
I never did.
Right.
It's weird. I knew I was overweight. It was clearly visible that I was overweight, but I never ever felt that I needed to hide it or be ashamed of it.
Right.
I was always very... I love fashion, so I always dressed really well for my size. Thank you. But I never felt ashamed of it.
Isn't that amazing? That's a lovely way to be.
Well, because I listen to a lot of other podcasts which are, created by queer content creators, and they always talk about this, magazines like DNA only post fit models and stuff like that. I'm like, well, I grew up reading those magazines and I never felt bad for looking at them, or I
loved looking.
Yeah, those magazines never made me feel ashamed of my
size. If I want to see fat people, I'll look in the mirror.
Yeah,
No, I do think we need more balance.
There's got to be balance for sure.
But then don't buy that magazine.
That's it. Absolutely, get on XTube and search for chub porn.
Exactly. I know that. I agree with them, but it isn't.
Yeah,
that magazine is designed for people
exactly that.
with great bodies and to aspire. But I don't. I'm now. What I love is that I'm now more realistic, and that I will work out. I will ride a bike, but I will also eat that large bag of peanut M&Ms.
Well, another thing that
and delicious. I love them. I love them.
Yeah. Another thing too that I was always super kind of conscious of, I was like, yes, I'm the fat one. There's 100 skinny bitches out there doing drag or singing or doing music theatre. So I was always happy being the odd one out or being the character actor or the point of difference.
Yes. Are you worried you're going to be planned now?
No, even though I've lost weight, I'm still large.
No, you're not really.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'll take the compliment.
That's why but I consider you to be more planned now.
Right. You're terrible.
I do enjoy it.
Oh my God. So, we've talked about weight loss. Let's move on. Otherwise, that's all we'll talk about for the next hour.
Yep.
You're a full-time performer. That is your full-time job?
Yes, and the reason, I guess, is that I, treat Dolly Diamond as a business.
Gotcha. I'm exactly the same way.
Yeah, I know you are, and I love that.
You have to be.
As is Barbecue or Karen from finance.
Yep.
A lot. And I realised that if you want to get, try and get work for Dolly in other areas, try and get for Dolly to be an ambassador.
Yes.
To do stories with Storybox Library and all that sort of stuff, and get sponsorship dollars from someone, and you've got to be able to legitimately offer them something.
Yeah.
That you're a brand.
Yes, yeah. So what does an average week for Michael or Dolly look like? What sort of gigs are you doing? How many gigs a week would you do?
It varies, and but I guess probably I'm Dolly maybe 4 days out of 7.
Yeah.
But you know what it's like when it's festivals.
I feel like I live in drag during the festival season.
And it can be really early and it can be really late. Yeah. And, and I do whinge because sometimes I think when you whinge, you get it out of your system.
Yeah.
And I don't do it for very long, but you're lying there in bed and you think, oh, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
I don't want to shave and get makeup on my face.
I'm the same, but once I'm
badly put on.
Yeah.
Where's my driver? Where's my makeup artist?
But that's the thing. Once I'm in it, I'm on and I love it.
Yes, because that's your job.
Yeah.
And I believe that, in an ideal world, we should all do that. But it's really difficult, isn't it? Depending on what I realise sometimes, I think, well, you're not working down the mine.
No.
And there's a lot more difficult jobs.
I've been down a few miners, though. So.
I bet. With your hard hat.
But what sort of gigs does Dolly do?
Well, I generally produce my own, so I get a band together and get some singers and, do a cabaret and do X amount of nights, small venue. I love doing Christmas in July because I didn't grow up with that.
Right, yeah, it's very Australian.
It's a ridiculous sort of season of nothing. And I love, being mean about it, but I obviously like getting me cash in by putting on shows,
We will milk Christmas for all it's worth if they're paying for it.
Well, then I was asked if I would do a Christmas show, and I was like, I can't because I do Christmas. And then I thought, yes, I can. Why not?
Course.
And I did a week at the Butterfly Club in Melbourne, which is this gorgeous little club in the city. And, I loved it. And now I've already actually booked in for next Christmas to do it there.
Oh, wow.
I loved it. Because it was actually, I do like Christmas. And I like that everybody goes out and has work.
Well, I love Christmas for the food, but that's now a problem for me.
I know. You just have to sit there and lick the turkey.
I'd be like a slither of turkey, lick the sweet potato.
I think I would miss food too much.
I thought I would too, but I have, thus far, like
anyway,
I said.
It's a new life. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Where on was it?
You can watch me eat.
Cool.
Lovely.
That's a new live streaming idea.
Yep.
I'll live stream makeup, you live stream yourself eating.
Yes. Oh my God, I'd be so good at it.
Well, we should do it side by side.
Oh.
Next time I'm in Melbourne, we're going to do this. So you mentioned that you work as an ambassador and you've done some charity stuff. Who are you working with and how did those relationships come about?
I'm still, in an ideal world, I'd like to be Miss World. And I'm worried I've left my run a bit late. But I'm still hopeful. And I work with Guide Dogs, the Guide Dogs Association, Guide Dogs Victoria, and I was asked, and they want everybody to benefit from knowing about what they do and being able to use this service.
So what does your role with them entail?
I get wheeled out at events that they believe, because nowadays I feel with Dolly it isn't just an LGBT thing anymore.
Absolutely.
Which I love. And obviously I am a big old gay and that it's not really an announcement, is it? And,
There's a trail of glitter that just follows you everywhere.
And it's back to that gas again, isn't it? And then I love the fact that, I would just want Dolly to be someone who's there and someone who can, that you would invite along to get the event more publicity and to, shine a light on what they do. And so any events that they've got, I can MC it or I can just be there. I'm marching with them at Mardi Gras.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and
well, I won't be at Mardi Gras this year. I'll be stuck in Perth at a lesbian wedding.
Well,
so, I mean, it's kind of a form of Mardi Gras in
yes,
hell, maybe.
Yes. Oh, you'll love it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be going, would you?
No, they're paying me.
Well, exactly.
No, and also because Mardi Gras falls the last weekend of February this year, not the first week of March.
It's odd, isn't it?
So it threw me out when I was booking in events not even thinking about Mardi Gras, and it screwed me
Millions
over.
of gays everywhere in a complete disarray.
And I'm on the other side of the country.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Licking a chicken.
I know. How do you enjoy the drag scene in Melbourne? Because I find the drag scene in Australia, they are a little bit different state to state, but your work tends to be more outside of the scene. You just said a lot of your work is not LGBT based anymore.
Well, so my audience is,
your audience
which is great. You know, it's a mix of both. But
not
I've
necessarily
never really,
queer venues.
No, but I mean, I've done more than my share of
course.
them, but I don't do that in the sense that otherwise, if you do a lot of that, then people aren't that willing to buy a ticket because they've seen you down the road.
I can 100%. That is very much the case with our Divas show.
Right.
Where we do our Divas show all over Perth in cabaret rooms and small theatres, and our audience is 99% groups of straight women out on a girls' night out, older couples who love drag.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
And you're right, it's because the gays see it for free every night of the week in the gay bars.
Yes.
It's 100% true. And it's not that our show's not worth the money, like by no stretch of the imagination.
No.
But
it's
sequins are expensive.
I grew up watching, Melbourne drag, and I love it, and I will always go and watch it.
Who are some of your faves?
Oh, I mean, there was Kerry LaCour. I don't know if you know Kerry.
I don't know her personally.
With us.
Just
amazing.
The Melbourne Queens. When I think of Melbourne, I think of Paris.
Yes.
Rita.
Yeah.
I'm really good friends with Nova. The Sisters of the Sequin, and what do they call themselves? The Bitter and Bold.
Miss
Candy, of course. Yeah. The DT's girls and Laura Gravity and all that.
I love them all.
Yeah, they're fabulous.
I really do.
They have such it's their type of drag to me is such a Melbourne type of drag. It's very almost a bit, the same kind of wavelength as Mitzi McIntosh. Yes. But it's very Melbourne.
For me, they've got a presence about them,
absolutely.
And they
Paris walks into a room and she sucks you in.
Lip with those lips.
Oh, honey. Her face is a work of art, and I love it.
Yes, she is. And they are, you don't want to get on the wrong side of them, but they are lovely.
They go to town on Facebook. Some of the fights they get in, holy moly. I mean, I just can imagine them back in the 90s with their old dial-up telephones sitting on the kitchen stool. Now they do it on Facebook for the rest of us to see. Just cracks me up. What are some career highlights for you?
Right now,
right here. Let's conversate.
I had no idea. I'm retiring after this.
I do recall you sliding into my inbox, double checking. When are we podcasting? All I had to do was mention it to her, and she was here.
Oh yeah. Well, it's. I was looking for a free lunch.
We're a little late in the afternoon, and like I said, I'm not eating, so you can have a peanut.
The rest of you. Yeah. I never know the answer to that. What is career highlight? I mean. I really don't have an answer, and I think I don't have an answer because I'm waiting. But then it's next. It's the next big, job. I've done loads of gigs where I've absolutely loved it. I love doing Midsommar Festival in Melbourne.
I want to come over. I went to a Midsommar a long, long time ago, and I'd love to come back over for it.
It's really great.
Yeah. Is it a Pride Run festival?
What does that mean?
So in Mardi Gras is not Pride. Sydney Pride is separate to Mardi Gras.
Yeah, they are separate. I think
is Midsommar and Melbourne Pride separate?
Is a festival on its own, and then they have Pride in the middle of it, which
used
to be run by somebody else, and now Midsommar run it.
That's one thing that I wish we did here in Australia, like they do in America, is Pride. It's Pride at the same time everywhere. It's like a Pride month, where in Australia you've got Perth Pride's in November, Mardi Gras in like February.
Yeah.
It's all, and same Queensland. Their Brisbane Pride is very early January. It's like it's all over the place.
Doesn't that make it easier to actually be able to get along? because if it was all in one...
But I find it when it's...
Are we doing it because of your diary? Is
No,
that why
absolutely
Yeah.
not. The way I see it in the States, it's like these... performers and DJs and even people who attend the festivals, they spend the whole month bouncing around the country to different events and
That'd
different
be
festivals.
Exhausting.
It'd be fabulous, though.
Oh, you're always whinging about how tired you are now.
Not if I'm flying business class.
Oh, here we go.
Maybe I can become an ambassador for Virgin. Is anyone listening?
Oh, I know.
Wouldn't
Where
that
are
be
they?
fab? We'll pair up and we'll send them a proposal.
I'd like that. Can you do my makeup for the proposal? That'd be nice.
That's one thing people ask me all the time. I hate doing other people's makeup.
Selfish.
I just don't enjoy it,
No,
and
I
I don't
get it.
It's never as good as my own.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at their face, going, "It's not what it should be." I don't know, or I end up
I
doing
look at mine and think that.
every night.
Well, no, not every night. Last night I went out and I was like, "Oh, you look quite nice."
Oh, you had a good night last night.
Yeah, I think I thought, "Oh,
All
you've got
right.
it going on."
Dolly and I are performing together tonight, so I'll let you know how she goes.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Just when I bring the mic over.
Yeah. And this is something I asked you about just before we went on the air. You are a father. You have a daughter.
Yes.
And my first question was, is it from a previous marriage? Is it a gay relationship? And so tell us how this child of yours came about.
Yes.
I love these stories.
When a man and a woman lie together in bed. No, I met this girl, Angie, when I was 19, and we became really good mates and stayed mates for years. And I'd always wanted to be a dad, and she wanted to have a baby. And then she was with a partner, which still is. And we decided that we would go along that route, which, I think they lovingly called the turkey baster, don't they? But that sort of isn't quite right.
Right.
But that was more of it, went to the clinic.
Yes, of course.
Left a
It was all
deposit.
done very ethically.
Not my part. my part.
Your
no
solo
ethics.
part.
But I did
Was
actually...
there some good porn playing at least?
Well, I did. There was a magazine. It was back in the old days.
No videos, no smartphones.
No.
How old is she?
She is 13.
And do you have a close relationship with her?
Very much.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, which is why we did it. But
Yep.
you never know. You never know, like any relationship, will it work out? Will you
Yeah,
get along?
of course.
And it was never really a struggle.
Yep.
We were really, really lucky. We all wanted it this way, and
That's great.
we've been blessed. Yeah.
Well, it's becoming more and more common now that gay couples are having children with their partner, or again donating sperm, or having this almost like a group family where two couples join together and create a
Yes.
child, and it becomes...
and isn't that the way it should be? It's I'm all good with anyone being together, and we're good with anyone having children.
Yeah.
It's just got to be surrounded by love and everything done in the right way.
That's it. It has to be for the right.
And the fact that we need to justify or explain it to anybody else is, just makes me furious.
Well, the thing is, if it doesn't involve you, why do you need to have an opinion?
And as we know, that heterosexual couples and people have
they've
been
been
doing it
fucking
for
up
years
children for years
and getting it wrong.
Yeah.
and
Screwing up
that
families.
isn't to say that we won't get it wrong.
Of course, of course.
We being our community,
Yeah.
but it's. Yeah, just we know what we're doing because we're bringing up a child that's loved.
Yeah.
And so don't worry about it. We'll
Yeah,
be
yeah.
all right. Thanks.
And how is she as a child? She's
fucked up.
I was going to say a 13-year-old must be a bit of...
She is a mess. No, she's... no.
She'd be just starting
with
high
me,
school,
the
would she?
father.
Yeah.
I'm your father. She is at
It's very
school.
Mrs. Doubtfire of you.
Yeah, I stand up to pee. Amazing. Sometimes I think, lots of words other than just that she is a beautiful girl.
Oh,
She
that's
is-
fabulous. That's so good to hear.
And, I was a brat, which will probably shock you. And so
I
I
don't know.
deserved that. I would have deserved it. But
Payback.
yeah. But, oh, my God, she's brilliant.
Are any of your family here in Australia?
They're all dead.
They're all dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we lost my dad
Yeah.
recently, somewhere in Glen Waverley, and we keep putting up the posters. It was my mum's idea to put up the wrong number.
She didn't want him back.
No, Dad died quite a few, like 5-6 years ago or something. And
were they here in Australia with you? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all moved over. And
Gotcha.
I've got brothers and a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of, see each other when we're able.
Yeah, of course.
And they're all great. And, I think I just, even though mum and dad are no longer around, I had great mum and dad, so I'm lucky.
Yeah, I'm the same with my parents. I have such a good relationship with them, and
we are definitely lucky because not everybody's got that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, it's back to that, just because someone is your brother or your mother or whatever doesn't mean you've got to get along with them.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And if you don't, you've got to break that.
Oh, my family, like, my dad doesn't speak to his siblings.
Right.
My mum barely speaks to hers. But, I think as an adult, you can make those conscious decisions of how much you want that person in your life.
Yes.
And get that balance where it works. And I think me and my sister are great like that. We talk when we need to talk, when we want to talk, but we're not mad that we don't call each other every day, or like neither of us are upset about that. We're happy with who we are in our relationship. And
I'm of an age
I think
now,
some people put too much pressure on their family to be the perfect family, and that's when shit gets messy.
We never really did that. And I'm definitely of an age now where I want anyone in my life that's meant to be there.
Absolutely, 100%.
I don't really bother with the rest.
I'm curious about the Dolly character, because I spoke to Karen from Finance about this when I had her on the podcast. Karen, for her, is definitely a character, where my style of drag is a little more, it's just kind of me in drag. It might be a little bit more of a heightened personality or something.
God forbid.
Yeah, I know, right? That's why it doesn't need a character. It just is. But Dolly and Michael are completely different. And
I love that,
You never refer to Dolly as a drag queen. She is
I know what Dolly is drag. It is a man dressing as a woman, which is drag.
But Dolly doesn't refer to herself as a drag queen.
No, and I never really, obviously you interviews and things like that, and I would say, please don't use the word drag, just it's Dolly Diamond or fabulous or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
And because that way, when people think of you, they begin to think more of, someone as being real.
Yeah.
Whereas when you say drag, then they know that there's someone underneath that. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I'm realised that people are watching knowing I'm not an idiot.
Well, but that's the thing. Dolly is very real. Like, as a character, like when you're watching you on stage, it is 100% Dolly. Like, there is no ifs, buts, or maybes. Yeah. The character is so front and centre.
Well, then they're going to believe more of what you're doing. I've always loved Dame Edna for that.
Yeah.
It was always Dame Edna, and you never saw Barry. And Dolly's never photographed without the wig on or anything like that. Yep. Because I want people to believe.
And where did the inspiration for the Dolly, is Edna?
No. Well, actually, when I was younger, I did Maggie Tabberer.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
yep. I get that.
So she's not Maggie, but
there's elements of it there.
Yeah,
for
I think
sure.
my mother as well. I think a lot of boys, that do drag, become their mothers.
Dolly, funny you say that. Dolly definitely gives me that mother of the bride, lovely woman you want to have a drink with kind of vibe.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, she's very that.
I am, and I realised that once I think if somebody, a professional, did your makeup, your wig, and your look, I could look younger. Sure. I could look different.
But you like
it's
looking
the way I've made, Because when I began, I looked like Liza.
Okay.
And I drank like Liza. And I would...
Most drag queens
I would
do.
rattle when I walked. I was in and out of the wheelchair. But then I did a different look, and so but I love Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire. I love those looks,
Yep. Tootsie is a great movie. Well, they've just turned it into a Broadway show.
Yes, sadly, I don't think it did.
It didn't last that long.
It
won a Tony.
Mrs. Doubtfire is coming.
Mrs. Doubtfire is happening as well. How do we get auditions for these shows? We need to move to Broadway.
Yeah. Eventually they'll come over.
How do you find being a live singing drag queen? Because I grew up doing music theatre and singing, but when I started doing drag, I lip synced for a long time because it was almost not frowned upon, but 99% of Australian drag queens lip sync. So that's just what I did. And then a couple of years ago, I took the plunge and did my first cabaret show and sang live in drag, and it changed my career unbelievably. You've always sung in drag.
It's what they do in England.
Yeah.
And when I visited Melbourne to do my first Midsommar, and I was live, and it was, I was different.
Yeah.
And obviously we love that.
Yeah.
And that's why, it wasn't why I moved over, because I had a daughter and I was with had a boyfriend. And I've still got the daughter. And
glad to see you kept one of them.
Yeah. And I loved being, different.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's not as different.
No.
But
I agree, because it definitely set me apart. And I now do a lot of corporate work in drag because I do sing live.
Yes.
It's kind of taken me on a completely different career path.
Absolutely.
And very much out of the LGBT venues and kind of onto a bigger stage in a sense. And I'm so grateful for that. I love that I get to do that.
Well, the reason we want to get out of just doing those venues is because we want more work.
Oh, absolutely.
I have obviously go to those venues.
That's it. Drag
Michael,
queens in a gay
and I
bar are
work
a
there
dime a
as
dozen.
Dolly,
Yeah.
but you can still be the, one of the best in that, but we just need more work to survive,
Yeah, that's...
It's not easy, man.
It's not.
Easy.
It's
I mean,
not.
it may as well be down the mine sometimes. It really may as well
hustle,
be.
hustle.
You
Speaking of Dolly,
Yes.
we actually had Dolly in the other day,
Ah.
and we did a little pre-record with her, just, a little chit-chat about what she's doing in Perth and her fringe show and everything. So
I look forward to
for the
it.
listeners at home, we're going to play that for them now.
Amazing. Aren't you lucky?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are very blessed today. We have the one and only Dolly Diamond in the studio.
Oh, my word. I've been ready. I'm ready.
You're always ready from what I hear.
You look amazing.
Oh,
What's your
thank
secret? What have you been doing?
Just remove 2/3 of your stomach.
oh,
That's all you have to do. Go under the
big
knife.
night?
A couple of big knives.
Wow.
Welcome to Perth.
I love it. Warm.
Very.
It is warm, isn't it?
It is hot, hot, hot. But you're here with the Fringe Festival.
Yes.
Performing Dolly Diamond's Blankety Blanks.
Yes.
Tell the people what it is.
Well, it's a game show.
Just
and-
like the old TV show, I believe.
Well, almost.
Almost.
It's 99, but no, it's exactly that. Nothing original. And it works, though.
Great.
When
And-
I love, we get locals like you.
Myself, I'll be in there. I'm in there
Yes.
to Friday night. I'm
Right.
going to be in on Friday night as one of your guest panelists.
Tonight. Is it tonight? Tomorrow night? No, I can't even think.
We
of
don't even know what day.
day
This is what happened at Fringe. You lose track of days because you're doing back-to-back shows. You have no
Yes.
idea where you are, what time you are. And but no, you're
But
running.
I love it.
You're at
it's-
Connections for a few nights.
Yes, and what it means is I get to interact with everybody, and I love that.
Yeah.
You get a real response.
Well,
and I really enjoy
I was
it.
a panelist on the show last year as well, so
You
this is
were, and you did well.
2 years in a row.
Oh, I can't believe it. This is.
Am I the only repeat offender?
I believe you are.
Oh, well, darling, VIPs only at the Blankety Blanks.
This will be the last year of it. I love it, but I want to do something new.
You've been
next
running
year.
it outside of the Fringe festivals as well.
Well, you don't
do-
mind, do you?
No.
No, that's but that's true. Yes, I had to do it without you.
And it's an hour-long show.
Yes.
And you just read out the questions.
Well, I do a little more than that.
Okay,
You're
tell
making
us- tell us
you're
what you do in the show.
oversimplifying my role. She thinks she'll be stepping in now.
No, that's fine. I'm happy. I'm happy to have a night out of the spotlight and just sitting on the panel.
Liar. And basically,
Just never give me the microphone.
I open with a number, and then we do the questions. But it's all about that interaction, isn't
Yes.
it? And the way that we bounce off each other. And when
Yes.
it goes really well, is when it's a dream. Then.
Well, I think that's, like I said, I was on the show last year, and I think that is one of your finest skills, is the way you just bounce jokes with the audience and the panelists. You're very
Yes.
skilled at working a room, shall we say.
I love all that, though. And it's over the years, I think, many years ago, I used to be a bit nasty with it. Now I'm a lot softer. This is me now.
Soft like a brick.
Well, no. I mean, you know what it is? You go for the jugular, don't you? You know the line is there, and you think, right. And now I'm a little nicer with it. You can get it all across with your comedy. You don't have to be mean.
Fabulous. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fun time. I'll be back
I'm
there.
ready.
And this will play after the festival, so we can't even invite people along. But that's okay. They'll be there. We know they've got tickets.
Oh,
and
that's exactly right.
That's Fringe Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, Dolly Diamond.
Oh, I loved it.
So we were talking briefly out in the foyer before we came in to record, and you had someone at the show.
That's where all the good stuff was.
Oh, no, we were having a good old laugh out there watching two ladies assemble an IKEA chair.
Yeah, better than we could. I'm rubbish with an Allen key.
Yeah. And you mentioned...
I get a man in to do anything.
A man to drive, a man to do your makeup, a man to build you a chair.
There's a lot more than that.
None of them from Grindr. But you mentioned you had someone get a little bit handsy with you the other night while you were doing the show, or was it after the show?
No, it was on. I got them up, the contestants.
Oh, you got someone up on stage?
He smacked me on the arse.
He slapped you on the arse.
And obviously it was in view of everyone.
Yeah.
And I just immediately said, don't do that. Because I believe that's what you should do.
Yeah.
And that if you allow it, then
I would have just turned around and slapped him.
Yeah. I mean, you want to, don't you?
Yeah, that's it. I have really quick reaction when someone does that to me.
That means it would all be over.
Yeah.
The night would be over, really. And I didn't really want that. Well, I did in a way. Do I still get my money?
Yeah. We've got the tickets. They're not getting refunds.
And but I had no idea in what way he'd react. Yeah. And I was, I think you're.
And how did he react when you said don't do that?
He didn't do it. He sort of stiffened, as it were, and then I was like, I softened with the way that I was with him.
Yeah.
I just sort of moved on.
Yeah.
But in the guy's defence, he was just thought he was being playful.
Yeah, I think people have this little bit of an old school misconception of drag queens that they want to be dolled up and fussed over and touched, and it is so far from reality.
Well, we're all going to go we're all to blame, but there's a lot of us that would be to blame in that you get some drag acts that get a man on stage and get their hands all over the man.
Sure.
I've looked at men and thought, yes, I'd love to do that. That'd be really nice.
She's giving me the evil eye right now, folks.
But wouldn't it be nice, And I would never do it. I've never done it because it is not right. It's definitely not right now. I don't think it was ever really all right. But... because, where do you draw the line? When is it all right? With that one, yes, but not with that one. So you're just not allowed. And, I know it's playful and whatever, but it is inappropriate.
Yeah.
Don't slap anyone on the arse. Don't grab anyone by their real or unreal breast.
Yeah, we were talking about this too. Like, I often will get groups of girls at a bingo night or after a show, they want to have a big group selfie. And 9 out of 10 times, the person who's standing right next to me, without even looking at me, will come in for the picture and one of their hands goes straight on the tit.
Yes.
It's like their default pose, or they put their leg up. They want to wrap their leg around you.
They've been grabbed that way.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah, right.
And that's my guess.
Yeah.
And also, if you were to react, it would be, well, they're not real.
No.
And it doesn't matter. For me, when I'm dressed up, they are what I'm getting across as being real.
Yes.
And either way, it's not right. Don't do it.
I mean,
I don't want people grabbing me at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
typically when we're in drag, there's layers upon layers of costume, makeup, wigs, stockings, Spanx, everything, and it's hot. And the last thing you want is some random coming up and sliding up against you or gyrating on you or touch. It's not comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, that should be everybody's rule.
Yeah.
You'll know if somebody wants you to grab them.
That's it. If people don't read the situation.
Yeah, I mean, but it shouldn't know. We need to know we need to have our boundaries.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, one thing that just popped into my mind, I have been flip-flopping between calling you he and she this whole time. And we haven't talked about it on the podcast. The pronouns in drag, they tend to do flip-flop between the two. Do you,
none of that bothers me.
Yeah, amongst my drag friends, we call each other he or she interchangeably all the time. I mean... Are you comfortable with that as a preference? Like, I know some queens will only want to be called he when they're not in drag. Some are okay with being he or she.
I don't mind it's different with everyone you know. Like I don't mind. I've got people who call me Dolly.
Yeah.
When I'm Michael, you know, and I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
Because I know you, and that's the way we.
Yeah.
speak with
Again,
each
I think
other.
it depends on the relationship you have with the person, for
You
sure.
know, and everyone in the world is different in that way,
Yeah.
whether you do drag or not. It's and what you've got to do is learn the difference. And you may not get it right immediately.
I get a lot of people ask me, especially
Yeah. Well,
straight women.
That's lovely.
And that's it. And they sometimes say to me, they're like, we don't know whether to call you he or she. And I'm like, the best thing to do is ask.
Yes.
I mean, obviously do it politely.
Write
but
me a letter.
if you ask someone in the, if you ask someone, you
Yes,
know.
sir or madam.
Yes. He, shim, her, it, they, them. Take a guess.
Yeah.
But no, I'm totally fine with people asking the question. And
Yes.
yeah.
What I never really understand is that when I'm dressed as Dolly and someone says, "Well, do I call you shit?" I think, well, I've made a bit of an effort. Have a look at me.
I don't know. Judging by the makeup, it's questionable.
No. I'm a girl with bad makeup. That's all it is. I'm still a girl. I'm still a good man.
Well, Michael,
I've loved this.
Thank you for coming in.
Yes.
I can do a couple of quick fire questions.
Oh.
Favorite thing about being Dolly Diamond?
Getting to really feel comfortable with an audience and be Dolly. I love that.
Fabulous. Least favorite thing? I think we've covered that.
Well, it is. Yeah, it's I mean, doing the makeup.
The makeup,
yeah.
And what's next? Have you got anything on the horizon you want to talk about, or let us in on a little something exciting coming up?
I guess I love what I do, and there's loads of gigs on the way. I'm doing a comedy festival in Melbourne. I am looking forward to Mardi Gras. I think that's going to be great.
Gorgeous.
And more gigs, and just what's next? I don't know what's next, and I'm looking forward to getting it.
Great. Well, where can people find you online so they can look you up and come see your show?
I've got a website, dollydiamond.com.au.
And the social medias?
Yes, all of those. The Real Dolly
Just
Diamond.
Just search the Dolly Diamond on
exactly.
Instagram and
There is
Facebook.
actually, like a strippers called Dolly Diamond.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Don't get the two. Well, are they easily confused?
Go along. I mean, see what you reckon. Let me know.
Michael, thank you so much for being here. If you are listening at home, you can
get the
look
numbers up, won't it?
I hope so.
Followers.
If Karen from Finance can't do it, Dolly Diamond surely can.
Exactly. What was that? Did that rate about 9?
I don't know. We haven't really checked our stats yet. We're only 3 episodes in. It's very new.
This has been the best.
Gorgeous. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening at home, you can look us up. It's Let's Conversate Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and my personal Instagram. Just search Dean Misdale anywhere on the interwebs. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Loved it all.
We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.